Guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back? Back, my friend. Guess who's back? Hello.
Hey fellas, I'm going to that grocery store across the street. Come bearing gifts.
Thank you. You got any sugar?
Don't push your man.
So, we are talking about two movies today, Detroit and It.
This is the Will Poulter special because he was at one point going to play Pennywise in it and then decided to do Detroit instead.
Yeah.
So, on with the show, which one out of the two? It's a bit unfair because these are different types of movies.
Yeah, and you shouldn't really compare them.
Yeah. But because we're a couple of idiots on the internet, which one did you prefer?
Okay. It.
Me too.
Yeah.
Only by a tiny bit.
I think,
but enough to say that I prefer.
Now, as someone who is currently reading the book, in fact, let me just get it right. Let me just get it. I'm currently reading the book right here. As you can see, it's a little bit messed up, but I'm around 430 pages into it, and I'm trying to get it finished. I was supposed to finish it before the film, but that didn't end up happening. So I'm currently hoping to finish it soon, and it's very good. I mean, it's a great book. And as an adaptation, it is a very good adaptation, even though it does change some things. Some work, some don't. But for the sake of Detroit, coming out a little while ago, we're going to talk about Detroit first.
Oh, yeah. I enjoyed it slightly more. Just because the narrative seemed a bit more focused in it. Detroit, the narrative was a tiny bit muddled. Yeah. It was still bearable. Although I give them both a 7 out of 10, so it is very close.
I'd say it for me is like 8.5, mostly just because I think the characters are great, and plus Detroit is very hard to watch because it actually did happen, and the things that the characters went through in the movie, people actually went through. And so it's a little bit harder to watch. Which, funny thing, after we watched it,
we can talk about that when we actually talk about the film. Right?
Okay, fair.
Yeah, I've read the whole book. I don't remember all of it because I was about 12. Which there's a very famous scene, which you probably wouldn't want 12-year-olds reading, but I don't know. I didn't seem because I was young. I didn't find it weird at all. I was just like, oh, okay, because yeah, obviously everybody knows. Anybody that knows the book, it knows that there is one scene.
Yeah, where the kids have a sort of a ritual per se.
A ritual,
which involves which I don't remember how many of them, but basically they have a weird sex orgy together.
Yeah, in the sewer.
In the sewer, which I haven't gotten to that bit yet, but I know of that scene and I know what it's meant to represent. I know it means different things to different people, but if I'm being honest, I don't know why Stephen King wrote that in there. I don't know what he was thinking.
Because it's Stephen King.
Yeah, I mean, I love his writing, but with that scene, but which is luckily, spoiler alert, which is not in the film, which is good. It shouldn't be in. I don't think it needed to be in the film.
Yeah, so
it's just way too bizarre.
Because I was the age of the characters, roughly.
Yeah.
I didn't find it weird that they were underage, but then obviously now that I'm past that age, I'm like, whoa, why are they writing about that? So at the time I didn't find it weird, but
at the same time,
but now I'm like, oh, that's pretty weird, Stephen. What are you doing?
But at the same time, he wrote that in the 80s, so it was kind of people let things slide a lot more. People are a lot less sensitive than they are now.
Yeah, so I do like the book. Yeah, so on with detailed. We'll do Detroit first because that came out first. And I feel like we're probably going to talk about it a bit more. It is in the film.
When you're black, it's almost like having a gun pointed at your face. It's like this. Hey, boy, what you doing on my street?
Get that gun off me.
Or what? Hit the dog! You shoot it. Oh, man. It's just a start. It just starts racing.
Now before I saw the movie, what I assumed Detroit was about the Detroit riots. Riots. Set in the what time period is it?
Oh,
60s. 60s.
Around then.
But it's kind of about that. And what's more about is what happened during those times where police tension is very, very high. Tensions between police and citizens, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't know a lot about Detroit riots because British, don't know a lot about American history. We know enough, but anyway, that's not the point. But basically, what happened? What it's really about is primarily about a situation that happened at the Algiers Hotel.
Something like that.
Where police hear gunshots, they line up these 14 black guys and 2 white girls, and they start questioning them. And
wait, 14?
I don't remember the exact number.
I don't remember there being 14. There might be. Insert number of people there were here. Wow, you were right all along. Maybe.
Anyway, and the guy leading the charge is this blatantly racist dude, and he's like, all right, nobody's gonna tell us who fired the shot. All right, we're gonna beat you, torture you, and sort of beat the answer out of you. And that's basically the plot. I
thought that was gonna be the movie, right? But that was more like the second act. So there's a lot in the third act. I won't give any spoilers, but there's a lot of what happened afterwards, like what happened in response to that event.
Now,
and there's a lot of setup as well, which isn't a problem, but it's just I thought it was worth noting because the trailer made it look like the second act was the whole movie.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Now,
other people might have known, but I don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot.
Now, what's your opinion? Because for those of you who don't know, Kathryn Bigelow directed this movie. She directed Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30. What's your opinion on her?
I should have watched those films.
God damn it!
Before that, I told myself I'm gonna watch it before the, and as soon as you started saying a sentence, I realised I didn't watch them. Yeah, I thought they're good.
Because for me, Hurt Locker is very overrated. I don't think, but I really like Zero Dark 30. But yeah, okay, that's enough about the director. Actually, because obviously she was the director. What did you think about the directing and the cinematography?
Yeah, that was good.
Although one thing to mention is that
who was the writer? Was it her as well?
I don't. I will. You know what? I'll look it up and then I'll put the answer right here.
Because the writing was a little bit off for me. Just the overall flow. It was written maybe more like a book than a film. Although
one thing to mention is that the screening that we saw this in, the projector was wonky. It was I think it was either way too small or it was way too fuzzy. I don't know but you know what I'm talking about. It was just really weird.
There's something a bit off about it, but
although it might have just been the cinema that we saw it in.
I think it's probably a bit of both. Because the trailer looked a little bit not completely clean, but to be honest, I think that adds to the film, not by a lot, but it didn't take away from the film for me.
Sure. I never actually saw the trailer.
Oh, you never saw the trailer?
No.
Oh, when I saw All Eyes on Me, the trailer played, and when you see John Boyega, a couple of guys just shouted, Star Wars, Star Wars. I was like, no, it's not. It's not Star Wars. It's very different to Star Wars.
God damn it.
That was a pointless anecdote. But yeah, so basic thoughts. What would you give it out of 10?
I give it 7.5. I think while it is very well directed, extremely well acted, the guy Will Poulter, who plays the main cop, who's like the main racist dude, he was great. He really made me scared because of how brutal and how you know, I don't know how to fully describe it, but he was scary. He was legitimately scary and
Yeah,
I
it was
think
very threatening.
yeah, and
I'd say that's the word I'd use.
And what really helps is the fact that police were actually like this. Stuff like this actually happened. Some of it still does happen.
Yeah, somewhat today, not to the same degree.
Yeah.
Although I haven't experienced it, but
Yeah.
from what I've heard.
Yeah. I think the writing, while good, the pacing is a little bit off because like the whole scene in the hotel is like an entire hour of the film, and because of that, I think the pacing's a little bit off. And also, it starts with this really weird animation.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I don't know what.
Yeah, that was
what
tonally.
that is.
The tone of that was a bit weird because it's a very serious movie, as you were saying.
Yeah.
For some people, it might be hard to watch.
Especially
not because it's a bad film. It's a really good film.
Especially if you were
because of the topic.
Especially if you're aware of, or maybe you had a family member who went through that or something.
Yeah, or something
or
similar.
Or if you've been through, or if
today.
you've been through like police racism or something.
Yeah, which I haven't quite obviously.
Obviously, because you know you're just a standard white guy.
Yeah. But it's still he still was quite threatening because that. Just his performance was brilliant. It was Will Poulter, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw one article actually about how I mentioned earlier that Will Poulter was going to play Pennywise, but instead he decided to do this. I saw an article saying that the title was Will Poulter too pussy to play Pennywise? But it's like I don't know the character's name. Do you know it?
Who?
Will Poulter's character in Detroit.
Oh no, I don't know.
I found him scarier than Pennywise because it was real.
Yeah.
A real, well.
I mean,
a real person.
I mean, Bill Skarsgård, who plays Pennywise, did a phenomenal job. But we'll get to that when we talk about Pennywise.
I'm just because.
I think
it felt real.
Yeah, and because
it made it more scary.
And because the guy was the actual guy, the guy who plays actually did this stuff, it makes it real, which it was real, which makes it obviously in the movie it's not real, but the event actually happened, so it makes it scarier.
Yeah.
Because it really just shows the horrors of humans, of human beings, and what human beings are capable of. Because if they I don't remember the word, but it basically shows the horrors of human beings and what we are capable of under the right circumstances. If you know, because of prejudice and such or something someone said somewhere. Something.
That was a good quote. Someone said somewhere something.
Quality.
Was that what you said?
Yes.
So,
quality.
Yeah. So, I found Will Poulter's character scary because it was real. So that article was a bit of BS, and also the fact that he didn't play Pennywise doesn't mean he was scared of playing the character. It just meant that he probably read the screenplays of both and felt either that Detroit was a better film, or that he fit the character better, because I think he fit the character quite well. It doesn't mean that he was, as the article said, a pussy.
I mean, in the end, I'm glad Bill Skarsgård played Pennywise, but I think I'm glad that Will Poulter decided to Detroit and Bill Skarsgård did play Pennywise, because they were both great in those roles.
Yeah. So.
And one thing.
What else can we discuss without spoilers?
Without spoilers.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I left the film wondering. I just had a few questions about what ended up happening to the cops who were found not guilty. You know. I mean, wait, they explained that, didn't they?
I was gonna say that's a bit of spoilers, isn't it?
I don't know.
It's really hard with true story films because it just.
Because
when it's something like World War II, a film based on World War II, everybody knows that Hitler killed himself, so that wouldn't be a spoiler. But this is sort of a small event.
Because when you're
so
talking about...
a lot of people here don't know this story. I knew like a basic summary of what had happened, but not specifics.
You see, because I just had a few questions leaving it, which again we won't talk about. But I just had a few questions leaving it, which I'm hoping, which if I want to know, I'll just look it up. One thing that is very interesting is that when the film ended, we got up and there were
I was just about to say
there were a couple guys behind us, and I didn't hear it because I was busy.
They were all white.
All white. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but hey.
I'm going to expand that point later.
But
I'm allowed to be racist to white people. I'm white.
I mean, I'm not white, so I can't say that. But anyway, I didn't hear it because I was busy, because I was paying attention to something else. But he heard them, and apparently they said that it didn't feel for any of the people in that situation, which it wouldn't.
I think even
wait, can I just say which really annoys me, because the people in that situation, those were actual people who went through. They were actual people who went through that, and they said that they didn't care for anyone, even though that actually happened to people.
Yeah, I think even if it wasn't a true story, I still would have felt for the characters, because it was well written, mostly well written and well directed.
But I think the fact that this actually happened to people,
that adds to it.
Just pisses me off.
Even if it wasn't true events, I still would have felt for the characters.
I think I just like a couple of dickheads just decided to say, "Oh, I didn't feel for any of them," and I'm like, people actually went through that. You douchebags. God damn it.
So I'll expand my white point, and this is probably going to get some hate comments, but there has been real research into this. A high percentage of people have a hard time, well, not a hard time, but a harder time connecting with characters of other races or other genders, and that applies to all. So Asian people might have not trouble, but the exact same situation an Asian person would feel for another Asian person more than a white person, which this is real research has been put into this. It's not me being SJW or whatever. A lot of people subconsciously have this thing where if they're white, they see a black person or Asian person in the same situation as a white person. Without realising it, it will be harder for them to connect with that character, which I understand the theory. I don't think it applies to me, not because I'm some amazing person, but just because Get Out was the scariest film I've seen in a long time, and Ring, the Japanese film, is the scariest film I've ever seen, and they're Asian and that. So I'm not sure if it applies to me, but I understand the theory, and there has been real evidence backing it up. So that's why I pointed out that they were white. Obviously, if there were just some people behind us and said something weird, I wouldn't go, "Oh yeah, they're white." But do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
And the only white characters in the film, well, only white victims were female, so they were male as well. I forgot to point that out as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get hate comments, but hate me. This is real research.
See, the thing is, people are just too sensitive. I just like when people it's like, for instance, when women say, "Oh, I want to be treated equal," men just get all like, "Oh, you stupid feminist bullshit." I'm like, I mean, well, even though I don't completely with all types of feminism, I think that everyone should be treated equal. I mean, to be fair, what do I know? I'm just a queer, so whatever.
Am I allowed to put that in my video? Sure, I'll put it in. I'll just blame you if anybody complains because you said it.
What? It's true. Besides, we took that back. That word back.
What?
We took that word back.
Oh yeah.
My community. We took that back.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I find it weird how the same people that are saying you get offended too easily also get offended about this sort of stuff, the sort of stuff I was saying.
Yeah.
That's a bit weird. But this is a film discussion, so let's stop talking about this.
Yeah.
This is a bit too serious for a film discussion.
I do think one thing is that definitely can be said about Detroit is that it definitely makes you think about what's happening now, what's happening currently, and you know if
and what used to happen.
Yeah, and how some things have changed dramatically, but other things are still staying the same to a certain degree, whether it's small or big, and that really, if we want things to change completely, then we just need to try and just accept change, accept differences, because I think that's one of the biggest things that cause sort of hate. It's just lack of trust in different people. If that makes sense.
Okay. So
but in the end, it's a really good film. It's a bit too long. The pacing's a little bit off. The writing is not perfect, although it is really good.
I think that, you know, all the dialogue was fine. It was just the overall narrative.
Yeah, and
that was the only problem.
And me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the ending, but other than that, good film. I just think it ends. I just think it ends a little bit abruptly. That makes sense.
Okay, I was gonna say. I thought you just did like what happened there. I was like, it's a true story.
I know.
I just
thought it ended a little bit abruptly, but in the end, it's a good movie. I think if I wanted to watch it again, it would have to be under the right circumstances. I'm not gonna be on holiday in Spain.
You're sunbathing.
In sunbathing, I'm just like, you know what? I want to watch Detroit. You know, Detroit is. I mean, I know this is gonna sound really bad, but trust me. I'm not trying to offend anyone, but Detroit's the type of movie that you watch when you hate your life, when you hate everyone around you, and you're like, you know what, I want to watch something. You have to be in the mood. You have to be in like a certain mood to
I would
watch
agree
Detroit.
that you have to be in a certain mood.
Trust.
I wouldn't go that far.
Trust me. I'm not trying to offend anyone. Trust me.
Okay. Yeah. So. I'll go first, but we'll discuss like who we'd recommend it to and when. I would recommend it to people who are into serious films, because there are some people that just like comedies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So people that just want to have a laugh, choose something else. If you're the type of person that likes a serious film, and you're in a mood for a serious film, I would say give it a chance. If it's still in cinemas when you're watching this, I wouldn't say rush out. If you're going to the cinema, you don't know what to watch, maybe. I'd say Blu-ray's fine. I think you'd get, as long as your TV's a decent size, you would get the same experience.
Yeah. And at least your TV would probably be better than the screen that we watched it on.
Yeah.
Or at least, I don't even know if it was a screen. It could have very well been the projector. Who knows?
But, yeah, there are certain films where... Well, I think all films are improved by the cinema, at least a little, as long as people aren't talking in the room. But this, you don't get much extra, like other films, you don't get much... So, watching it on Blu-ray is fine. So yeah, who would you recommend it to, and in what circumstances?
I pretty much agree with you. I'd recommend it to depressed people. Sorry, that sounds really bad. What am I doing? Basically, if you, I don't even know what to say because I'm worried I'm gonna mess up anyway.
So is what you're trying to say?
I agree with you. Basically,
a fun comedy.
Don't watch. I mean, if you feel sympathetic or empathy for people too easily, don't watch it because you will be crying like immediately.
Really?
But I don't. It's not for everyone. That's the point. End of discussion.
Hiya, Georgie. What a nice boat.
Rejoice. It's it. That's not good. We're not using that. Yeah, we are. Let's just use that, including the bit where I said I'm not using it.
It's a good time. Just use a pun.
It is out in cinemas. Watch it.
And it is a good movie. So let's talk about it.
When you're a kid, you think the universe revolves around you. You think that you'll always be protected and cared for. Then, one day, you realize that's not true.
It is the new adaptation of the Stephen King book, starring Spooky Clown.
Well, he's not actually a clown. Sorry. Spoilers for the book, by the way. We'll try and keep a spoiler free. We'll try and be as spoiler free as possible with the movie, but for the book there will be spoilers. And yeah, Pennywise is not actually a clown.
But he takes the appearance of a clown.
So basically, it is a movie based on Stephen King's very popular novel, which I'm currently reading. It is a great book. Actually, it's based on half of the story. It follows the kids set in the 80s. The book is set in the 50s, but they've moved it to the 80s, and it follows a group of kids who call themselves the Losers Club, who are being terrorized by this entity who takes the form of a clown called Pennywise, who takes the forms of what they fear and uses that to try and eat them, basically. And they have to try and take this down, and it's set in Derry, Maine.
I thought he feeds off their fear.
Yeah, he feeds off their fear, and he also eats them.
And also their arm.
So right off the bat, it is a great movie. It's not a perfect movie by any means. I do have problems with it, but overall, I do think it's great, and I think it's worth watching a few times. And I will be definitely getting the Blu-ray when it comes out, and it makes me very excited for, spoiler alert, part 2.
That's not a spoiler.
But you know, some people are gonna say spoilers, you know, because some people are like, ooh, spoilers. Sorry. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know a specific person who commented on our last video. I don't know their name, but
I know. I knew that person. Yeah.
I thought it was good.
I mean, we have a little bit of differing opinions because I definitely like it a lot. I definitely liked it more than he does.
Yeah.
But I think we both agree that it's a good movie.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good adaptation of the book. Obviously, it was different, but it had the same tone. Yeah. Which is the most important thing to me.
Yeah.
It gets the same message across, the same feeling.
And I know people will immediately be like, "Oh, it's not as good as the original miniseries." But if you're being honest with yourself, the miniseries, it sucks. Let's be honest. The ending,
I like the first one.
The ending is just terrible. It's just terrible. Okay, it sucks. It's
the miniseries that everybody thinks is a movie.
Yeah, it's not a movie. I mean, I think everyone just thinks it's good because of nostalgia. That's basically it.
Yeah.
But watching it now, it's not very good.
I do still like the first part, the first episode.
And Tim Curry is great in it. However, Bill Skarsgård, we're going to get right into Pennywise. Bill Skarsgård is phenomenal. I'm saying this, phenomenal in this movie. He does such a great job of portraying Pennywise, and I don't know, I just thought he was great. He was creepy. He very much has that innocence to him, but at the same time, but then he can just sort of flip it 180 and become terrifying, you know, and he's vicious. Like, one thing for sure, whether you like or hate this movie, one thing is for sure is that this movie does not hold back.
Yeah.
And funny thing, that there was actually a woman in the theater.
Oh yeah.
I'll let
when
you
we
talk about
came
this.
in, there was a woman sitting on her own. I don't know how to describe her other than
apparently she thought she was watching a comedy.
Quite, I don't know if innocent's the right word, but type of person you wouldn't expect to be watching a horror movie.
Yeah.
And wait, if anybody's seen or read the anime manga series My Hero Academia, in Midoriya, the main character's mum, she looked a bit like her. Not really exactly that, but that sort of woman, you wouldn't expect her to be in a horror movie. Well, not in a horror movie, in a screening of a horror movie.
And no spoilers, but if you've read the book or seen the miniseries, you know this scene. But there's a scene involving a sink and blood, and when that scene happens,
whoa. You skipped ahead. She sort of asked us, "Oh, what's this film about? Is it a comedy or something?" I was like, "Not exactly.
Not exactly.
It's a horror movie, so will be quite different from
one
comedy.
thing for sure is that the movie is very funny.
Yeah.
Although I think because of how many people there were in the theater, there wasn't a lot of laughter. I think if there were a lot more people then there would have been tons of laughter.
Yeah, like there was a Fright Fest screening a couple of days before the re-release, but it was in London, so I thought that's
Of what movie?
Of it. And
no, because you said
go to
re-release.
What?
Because you said re-release.
Pre-release.
Oh, pre-release.
It was 2 days earlier, but it's quite expensive to get to London, so I thought I'll just wait the 2 days. I think with an audience like that, that would have been quite a good time, like with the whole cinema of horror fans. That probably would have been a good time.
Because one thing is that when you're in a theatre with a bunch of people, the energy when the people are getting pumped up, when people are like scared, terrified, laughing, the energy sort of waves across the room. And you feel that energy, and so you're having
which not a lot of people realise anymore, because nobody watches comedies anymore in the cinema.
Yeah.
Well, not nobody, but not a lot. People seem to agree that action films are better in the cinema. But apart from that,
and superhero films,
superhero action, a lot
superhero
of crossover,
and also horrors are very good to watch in cinemas.
Yeah, but I just mean what a lot of people think.
Oh,
I think all films are better in cinema.
Yeah.
But a lot of people would seem to just think, oh, action, bigger screen, so that's better. But no, comedies are better in cinema because you have the same atmosphere, people laughing, and it sort of makes you happier that other people are enjoying the same film as you. Why are we talking about this? We're talking about it.
Yeah.
What? How did we start talking about this?
I don't know.
We were talking about how not a lot of people laughed, even though it was funny. It's just because there weren't that many people in the cinema.
Although
I got that feeling when I was watching. There's a film coming out in December. I was at an early screening of it. Called Better Watch Out, and it's a horror film. It was alright, but I won't spoil the ending because I'm not a dick. Because not that many people have seen it because it's pre-release. But the ending, that gave everybody a boost of energy. People were like clapping at that ending, which that was my favourite part of the film, that ending. That just the whole audience, apart from the one guy that happened to be right next to me, everybody's just clapping at this ending. I can't describe it because it will be spoilers, but Better Watch Out is a good example of something where the whole cinema was just in love with one moment.
Anyway, back to the woman.
Back to the woman.
There's a scene involving a sink and blood. Which again, no spoilers, but if you've read the book or seen the movie series, you know the scene. And after it, I saw this. She stood up, turned around, and somebody behind her asked, I don't know, somebody said something. She was like, a bit horrible, ain't it?
Yeah.
And she walked out.
I think the exact word she said was pretty horrible. In it or right or isn't it?
Yeah.
It was definitely pretty horrible and then something.
And she left the room and she left the theatre and we thought she was.
Yeah.
She left.
We didn't talk because I don't talk through films.
Yeah. Neither do I. Even though I talk before the film, I don't talk during the film.
But we both said after the film, we thought she was leaving without discussing it at all. We both just thought, oh, she's definitely gone, because it was too violent. But she came back 5 minutes later, about 5 minutes.
It felt longer than that, but she definitely came back, which surprised me. I don't know about you, but it surprised me for sure.
It's possible that it was something along those lines. Maybe she was just getting some air, something like that.
But yeah, Bill Skarsgård, man, this guy is phenomenal. I've only really seen him in a few other things, Atomic Blonde being one of them.
Who was he in that?
He was the guy helping out James McAvoy. I don't remember. I don't know the character's name.
Yeah, but dude, I don't remember most of that film.
Fair enough.
All I remember was some cool songs
and some great action.
Some cool action going along with it. And I remember the plot was convoluted, but
yeah,
I don't remember what it was.
But yeah, man, Bill Skarsgård does a phenomenal performance. He physically he does such a great thing. You like, if for those of you who've seen the film, there's an effect with his eyes where he's sort of, it's like the opposite of cross-eyed, and it's not like it's CGI. That's him actually doing that.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, because I saw an interview where the director said that when he met up with Bill, he told him that he was going to do that with CGI, and then Bill was like to him don't worry, I can do that. And then he did it, and then the rest
Can
was
you
like,
do it?
no, kidding me? I could try, but I'm not going to.
Nah.
Exactly. But anyway,
I can't even do crossovers really.
I do
and that's
think
harder.
Bill Skarsgård. I think he does such a great performance, and I liked. No disrespect to Tim Curry, but I think Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise. I think even though visually he's not really what I expect from the book, but I don't know what word to use. But he very much captured the spirit of Pennywise in a good way, and I think, they do some unique things with him, which also goes in hand with they do mix in practical effects with CGI, and while it's good CGI, it does.
Was it?
Yes, it was. It stands out compared to the practical imagery. It's not that it's bad CGI. It actually looks really good. It just because it just stands out.
Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't fond of. There was probably a lot of CG that I didn't realize was CG, and that would have been good. But man, that yeah, there were some times I didn't like the CG.
My grandfather thinks this town is cursed. That all the bad things that happen in this town are because of one thing. An evil thing.
Is there anything that you didn't like about Pennywise?
Pennywise?
Yeah.
Do you mean as a clown?
No, like in the movie.
Yes. There were quite a bit of what I would just call modern American horror moments.
I think maybe he was in the movie too much, but then again he has a big presence in the book, obviously, so I don't really blame them.
I know it's bad to call it an American horror movie, because that's a bit like there are bad horror movies that aren't American, but a lot of this stuff seems to be extremely like more apparent in American horror movies.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be discussing a couple of things that happened that aren't spoilers, but if you want to go into this film like blind, then you can
click away.
Click to this time code here.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah, don't click away. I want those views. I want that watch time. But yeah.
Do you even get that?
What?
Never mind. What am I talking about? I only have like 7 subscribers, so whatever.
Okay, so I'm gonna list a few things.
Wait,
I thought
wait.
were a bit personally were a bit off.
And then we'll talk about the main characters, the Losers Club themselves.
Okay. The character of Stanley.
Oh yeah.
His fear. This was new for the movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't remember it, but as I said, I read the book.
That is probably one of my biggest complaints, is that the characters specifically of Mike and Stanley kind of get left in the background. They're not really touched upon as much.
Especially Mike.
Yeah. Mike.
So Stanley, as I was saying, I started talking about this.
Okay.
I don't know why I picked that up. Stanley's fear is a painting of a woman that her face is a bit, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's a bit messed up. A bit alien.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it. That's more personal taste. But the CG wasn't that great, but I guess you can pass it off as because it's based on a painting, because Pennywise is acting like the painting. It's not going to look real because he's not basing it off a real thing. He's basing it off a painting. Yeah. So you could say that, argue for this one.
Although talking about Stan and Mike being left in the background, Stan, considering what happens to him, no spoilers. You know, I said earlier spoilers for the book. What happens to him? But Mike ends up becoming a much bigger character in later on in the story. Even though he has a really good opening scene, but then he kind of gets he disappears for a lot of the movie, and then he comes back.
Do much.
Yeah. The actor was good, but I think the character they could have done more with him.
Yeah. So they gave Ben Mike's role, didn't they? In the miniseries and book, definitely in the miniseries. I think in the book as well, because it's been a while. Mike is the one who's interested in the history of Derry.
Although I'm reading the book, and there are a lot of scenes where it's Ben who's in the library, because it is Ben who spends his summer in the library. But I know what you're talking about. But I know
how Mike was quite interested in this.
Yeah.
So I just felt there was a bit that was like his main thing, and it was taken away from him.
Yeah.
And then they added this new thing that doesn't really go anywhere. It sort of plays into the ending a tiny bit. But I just wish they'd have given him the scenes that they gave Ben, because Ben already had enough going on with his character. With like Beverly, and that stuff, and then Mike didn't have too much going on, so I think that he should have let him be the one investigating Derry and all that.
Never mind. Sorry, I was going to say something,
but back to the American horror movies. There was also the bit where Beverly, Bev, I don't know, calling somebody Bev is a bit weird to me because she's not my friend. That's like what you call a friend, but Beverly, there's blood all over the bathroom. Everybody knows that scene. Well, everybody that's...
I said no spoilers for the book. Oh, I said
no. I
spoilers.
said mild spoilers here. Remember?
Oh yeah, you did.
So yeah, that scene. There's a lot of blood, which I thought was kind of cool. I can understand why some people wouldn't like that. Because it was a bit extreme.
That being said, it was cool as hell. It was a great scene.
But immediately before then,
I thought the hair was a bit unnecessary.
Comes out of the scene.
It was a bit unnecessary.
Why do so many American horror movies have hair in them? It's really weird. I don't know who is scared of hair.
But then again, okay,
I don't understand.
So one thing I want to touch upon is that in the movie they changed some things up, because in the book they're kids in the 50s, and so some of the things that they're scared of it are like the universal monsters of that time. But obviously, because the movie moved the time period to the 80s, what kids are generally scared of has changed, and so they changed that in the movie. And if we're being honest, fear is completely subjective. And which is why some people will not find this movie scary, and other people will find this movie scary, because fear is completely subjective. Me personally, I thought the movie was really creepy. I didn't think it was too scary, but I thought it was very suspenseful.
But as you're saying, like, you know, fear is subjective. It's scared of different things.
It's like humor is completely subjective.
Like a clown, I don't find scary, but I can understand why people are scared of that. There are a lot of things I can understand that I'm not scared of, but I can understand why people are scared of them. I don't understand hair at all. It's like, have you seen anybody ever? They've got hair.
Then again, I think maybe it ties into the whole puberty thing, and
because obviously the blood,
and gender roles, roles of from the 80s, the whole gender thing. Because her dad told her that she looks like a boy, and obviously in it being in the 80s, it's sort of.
I don't know, it just.
See,
American horror movies just stop putting hair in.
At least that's the excuse I can make for the hair thing.
Yeah,
I know you probably. Anyway.
Stop putting hair in movies. Well, not stop putting hair in movies. Stop making hair scary in movies. It doesn't make sense.
Anyway, the point. Anyway.
What else was there?
Anyway,
another modern American horror movie thing was every scare had a loud noise in it.
But then again, let's be honest, jump scares are everywhere in horror movies. Even the great ones have jump scares. So I think nowadays I just sort of accept it.
I think Get Out has like one jump scare in the whole film.
But I think generally, I just accept it. Obviously, if the horror movie's crap, then obviously jump scares is a big negative. And even in the great horror movies that have jump scares, the jump scares are a negative. But it's sort of I just kind of accept it because they're everywhere in horror movies nowadays.
I guess this is personal taste, but I think what I like similar to jump scares is when you see something scary and it gives you like a sinking feeling. I find that more effective, which is often something similar to a jump scare, like a shocking thing that you see, but it doesn't jump out. Like in the background, if was there a scene where was Georgie? Is that Georgie? Yeah. Where Georgie walks past in the background, or did I make that up?
I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
I need to see the movie again.
So I don't know if this scene's in the film. I might have made it up, but let's compare these two versions of the scene. If this is a scene in the film, which it might not be, because it's been maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks or something since we saw it. In the movie, Georgie walks past, and there's a noise, like I can't even do the noise, but you know the one that every jump scare has, sort of like a clanging noise, a shocking noise. But my version for horror movies, it would just be, he just walks past, and all you hear is the footsteps, maybe a laugh, but just the footsteps. To me, that's a lot scarier because it feels real. As I was saying in Detroit, something that feels real is more scary to me. Even within the context of this, there's this, being Pennywise. Even within that, I still want something to feel real, even if it's something like ghosts or zombies. I still want the rest of the thing to feel real to make it more scary for me.
Yeah.
Because unless, well, in most cases you aren't listening to music if something scary is happening. You could have headphones in, and then you'd be listening to music, but you're not hearing a soundtrack to your own life. So when you hear, I don't know if this film definitely did it, but a lot of films, they have a scary song and then there's a jump scare and you hear the noise. It just takes away from the realism to me with these non-diegetic sounds. And I don't hate them always. I think non-diegetic stuff often adds to the experience. That's why it's there. But for horror, I want something to feel real so that my fear can feel real as well. Is that understandable?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I do agree, but not completely, but that's, anyway,
it's like,
I mean, I guess I do understand that does annoy me in horror movies. I mean, but then again, I guess it's just different styles with directing.
Bill, if you will come with me, you'll float too.
Now that the slight spoilers are done, let's talk about the losers club, the main guys. Now, we've already talked about Mike and Stanley. They are definitely the weaklings, but at the same time, I understand, because the movie is almost 2.5, and then you have to focus on the losers. You have to focus on 7 kids as well as the bullies, Pennywise, some of the adults.
Yeah, but especially Mike. Mike should have got that extra stuff that Ben was given.
I know, but I'm saying it's understandable because of how much they have to concentrate on in a,
but
like a 2.5
what
hour
I'm saying
period.
is, okay, I understand why I can't add more stuff, because then the movie would be very long, or they'd have to rush.
Actually, that is one thing.
But if they just gave him that, it would have had the same runtime, but Mike would have had more to do.
That is one thing. I wish the movie was longer, so that they could include more stuff from the book, and that they could they could enrich some of the characters a lot more. But anyway, let's talk about the other losers, okay? Most of the other losers, like
Bill's the main one. Yeah?
Bill's the main one. I think my favorites, Ben, Beverly. I really loved Eddie Kasprak. I thought he was great. I loved his personality because he's a hypochondriac, and so he just made me laugh with all of his lines. And the actor who played him did a phenomenal job. And Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things, he did a great job, and I loved. He didn't hold back with what he said. He plays Richie Tozier, Trash Mouth For those of you who've read the book, you know. I thought he was great. And Beverly, I loved Beverly's story because it's a real thing, you know. Puberty for a lot of people is scary. For a lot of girls, a lot of teenagers growing up.
Especially her dad was quite scary, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It goes into more. It's closer to the book than the miniseries was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And there was the bit where he's like, you know, tell me you're still my little girl. I was like, well, Jesus, are they gonna actually do what's in the book? Everything that's in the book. I was like, oh, are they actually gonna do it? Because what's the director's name?
Andy Muschietti.
Yeah. He was saying lots of stuff about this is gonna be really R-rated and that. So I was like, oh, are they actually gonna do some of the stuff that's in the book? That
You see,
there's a lot of weird stuff.
You see, because I get chills just thinking about some of the stuff that's in the book.
Yeah. But I think they got close enough.
But anyway, I mean, regardless of some of the characters, you know, being kind of left in the background, all these actors are going places. Because despite some of the characters being sort of left in the background, all the actors who portrayed these characters were phenomenal.
Yeah, it's like often there's a bad child actor in a film or TV series, and people are like, give them a break. They're a child. All child actors suck. But it's like, no. The kid from E.T. The kids from E.T. The kids from Stranger Things, and there's there's
The Goonies, Stand By Me, another Stephen King adaptation, Super 8, which you haven't seen but I have seen. I forgot. I almost said Cloverfield, but Cloverfield doesn't star kids.
Are you just listing films now? You're just listing. There are some really good child actors.
But then again, there are also some really shitty ones. Like
I think
like Attack of the Clones. There are some child actors in that aren't great.
All of the Star Wars prequels. I don't remember any kids that had good acting in that.
Yeah. There are a bunch of others which I'm not even going to go through. Actually, another good film with good child acting is Looper. You know, the scrawny enough kid thing.
Yeah.
Like oh my god.
I didn't like.
I like children. I like children. Okay, I swear. I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to be rude against children. Okay.
Yeah, but there was a film I watched recently. Lighthouse of the Orcas, that had quite a good child actor in as well.
Obviously, the ratio of bad child acting to good child acting is stronger bad to good, but you know there is still some really good child acting, and child acting in this movie across the board is phenomenal. With that being said, because we've already talked about Pennywise, let's get into the bullies, because the bullies are like villains in themselves. Yeah. Now, the main one, Henry Bowers. He's generally accurate to what I've seen in the book, although there are a lot more scenes with him in the book, and see, I'm not going to spoil anything, but the ending, what the last time we see him in the movie is different to how we last see him in the book. Because spoilers for the book. In the book, which I haven't gotten to this bit, but I know of this, he escapes the sewers, and then the police show up, and he says that he's the one behind all the murders.
Oh yeah.
But in the movie, no spoilers. Actually, no, I can't say anything because no spoilers.
Well,
but it's different.
Not that.
It's different. So I'm wondering if that'll be explained in part 2, because it's been confirmed that part 2 will have flashbacks.
Oh, okay.
So I'm wondering if they'll do that.
So they're doing the other way around, because in like the miniseries, the kids stuff was a flashback. Like you saw them as adults, and then get a phone call. And then they'd get the flashback.
And also
opposite.
Spoilers for the book. They've also confirmed that the film will go transdimensional, like in the book.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Also, I believe Andy Muschietti said that he wants to start the film with the infamous Adrian Mellon scene. You know, the gay guy who gets killed, who gets his armpit bitten by Pennywise.
Don't remember it.
Do you not remember? It's like in the beginning of the book.
Dude, it was years ago when I read it.
Fair enough. But anyway, for those of you who read the book, you know that scene with Adrian Mellon, the gay guy. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, we'll talk more about the sequel in a little bit. What was I talking about before? Oh yeah. Henry Bowers, he's different. Even though he's generally accurate to how he is in the book, he doesn't hold back. Yeah, and the other two guys, Victor Chris and Belch Huggins, they were alright, but they didn't do much in the film compared to the book. But one character, okay, so this is another one of my big complaints. The character of Patrick Hockstetter in the movie. Now, in the book, Patrick has a complete story arc, because in the book, he is by far, he may not be the worst character as far, personality wise, but he's by far the sickest character in the book. And spoilers for the book, he gets killed by leeches. I don't know, the fact that his fear is leeches is kind of weird. But anyway, in the movie, it's completely different. He's only in the movie for like a good 15 minutes, and he
What did he do in the movie?
I don't know.
I don't remember him in the movie.
I don't know. He's the Kylo Ren looking kid.
What did he do though?
He threw Stanley's like Jewish hat and thing, and he's the one who got killed in the sewer with the like, by the he's the one who had the yeah.
Okay.
And in the movie, it's completely different, and he gets killed. He is only in the movie for like 15 minutes, and then he gets killed in a completely different way to the book. And I was like, what a wasted opportunity. Patrick Hockstetter is one of the sickest characters, if not the sickest character in the book. And I mean like sick from like a twisted point of view.
Yeah.
And like he's just like, that's just a massive disappointment.
Oh no, I can't complain too much about stuff that was missing, because like, look at the size of this book. If you expected every single word from this book, well, half of it, to be, if you expected every word in this book to be in both of these movies, then I don't know what you're thinking. How many pages? I'm gonna check.
1,736 or something.
1,376.
See, I told you.
Yeah.
I didn't count, but I checked.
You counted.
I didn't.
When there's just a number.
I mean,
at the
look,
bottom.
look. Movies based on books should not be exactly like the books, because books and movies are completely different things. They're completely different ways of taking in information. So obviously, some things that work in a book don't necessarily work on screen. But when they change something tremendous to a character that I actually, even though the character is a terrible like character from a personality standpoint,
yeah.
It's a great character arc, and I hate how he's just wasted in the movie.
The way I see it is, to me, he wasn't a very important character in the book, so it didn't affect my experience as much that they changed it. So for example, Death Note just came out. They changed the main character a lot, and that was the main character. So to me, that changing the main character is a bigger problem than changing, I don't know, the 25th most important character. I don't know, that's just a random number. But he's not the main character. He's not even the Jew Dragon. He's not even in like the top 10, I would say.
Yeah. But I'm still was upset with how they treated him. Even though he's not a very important character, he still has a, I don't know, it doesn't matter.
But he still has the same sort of personality, right?
I don't know, because in the book he keeps dead animals in a fridge, in a locked fridge, and
yeah, but it was still,
and we don't see any of that.
He was still, you could tell he was still a twisted kid.
I guess.
I don't know if you call him a kid, but still. How old was he?
I think they're all supposed to be around the same age. Actually,
really? I thought he was older.
No, I mean the same age as the other ones, the other bullies.
And how old were they?
I don't know.
I saw something.
The clown. Yeah, I saw him too.
So should we do the bit where we say who we'd recommend it to?
Okay, so in the end, in my opinion, it is a great movie. It is what it's one of those movies where I will watch. I'm going to see it again, and I will buy the Blu-ray when it comes out. It is a great movie. As a fan of the book, it is a really good adaptation. It's not perfect, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be. I think the directing was great. The cinematography is amazing. It is gorgeous. It's completely gorgeous, and it's done by the same cinematographer who did Oldboy, I think.
Which one?
I don't know. I can't pronounce his name.
The Korean one.
I don't know. I have to look it up. I have to look it up. But it's a what are you doing? Oh.
Looking it up. Keep talking.
And while it's not a perfect movie, it's definitely a great movie, and it's something that I can recommend. So, who I'd recommend it to? Fans of the book, fans of horror movies, and just people who like movies in general, really. It's not for everyone. I mean, if you're easily scared, or if you're scared of clowns, don't watch this movie. And if you don't like violence, don't watch this movie either.
Yeah. So it's
the
Chung Poon Chung.
Yeah.
I think that's how you say it. I'm not an expert on Korean pronunciation, so there's a high chance that I'm wrong. But yeah, he did The Korean Oldboy, and I also saw he did The Handmaiden, which I very much enjoyed. That was a beautiful film, both in plot and cinematography.
Yeah, but yeah, the cinematography is gorgeous.
I've got it up there.
Yeah.
There it is. Handmaiden.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's the wrong way round.
Yeah, but anyway. So yeah, that's who I recommend it to, and even though it's not a perfect movie, it's very good. It's great even, and I'm really excited to see what they do with part 2. Yeah, your opinion?
Yeah, I thought it was good. Again, yeah, good adaptation of the book, because even though it's different, it still had the same feeling.
Yeah, because I've seen a few people say that it's like that's bad, or like it's like I saw one review that the title was literally the new It movie is one of the worst films ever made, and I was like, how? Like anyone who says it's a bad movie is lying. It's not a bad movie, even though it's not perfect. It's still a good movie. It's not bad.
My main problems were just the sort of generic horror movie stuff that was in it.
Yeah. Again, those things are minor, really. Those little complaints.
Yeah. So, it's still a good movie. Apart from that, I just found the stuff that wasn't a horror movie better than the parts where it was being a horror movie. Which it just is a bit of a disappointment when you go into a horror movie. But it was still a good film, good adaptation of the book. Obviously, it's not exactly the same.
Bill Skarsgård
Bill
Skarsgård is phenomenal in the movie. He is phenomenal. His Pennywise is great, and I can't wait to see more of him. And I can't wait to see part 2.
Yeah, he's got weird dancing though.
Yeah, but other than that, he's great in the movie, and we're both looking forward to part 2 and see who they get to play the adult versions.
So yeah, I'd recommend it to anybody that's okay with violence, and isn't gonna die from a jump scare. That could actually, because people were like really, really weak hearts. Yeah. But yeah, anybody that's okay with gore and jump scares. Yeah. And by okay with jump scares, I don't mean you like jump scares. I mean you're not gonna die.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Or anyone who doesn't think or for anyone who or for anyone who doesn't think jump scares ruin a movie. I think even if you don't, I'm not too fond of most jump scares, and I still enjoyed the rest of the movie. There's still a rest of the movie to watch, so I think there's a lot of stuff you can get out of this movie. Yeah.
You can enjoy the comedy, or enjoy the horror, or enjoy the emotional story.
And there's going to be a director's cut, so with more I need to look up more information, but yeah, you can look it up yourself. There's going to be a director's cut, hopefully expands on it.
Yeah. So yeah, I just remembered I forgot to mention who's the guy who has the
Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie. His mum. She was well cast, wasn't she?
Yeah. Although she's not, though her story is not as complex as it is in the book, but at the same time, the book's so long that I don't expect it.
Yeah.
And they have to focus on so much in the movie that I don't
But
expect it.
She was well cast.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Watch it probably.
Depending on who you are, will depend on if you like this movie as much as I did, or more on the side of him. I obviously liked it more than he did, but we both enjoyed it.
Yeah. So even though there were a lot of stuff I didn't like, I still like. If you're not into horror movies, as I said, there's the rest of the film that you might enjoy.
I personally would give it an 8.5. If I'm really generous, I'd give it a 9. You
7.
Okay. but my main point is that it's 8.5. That's my main score. I don't usually like decimal scores, but this.
Yeah, I used to not like him, but then I got to the point where it's like something's better than a 6, but not worth a 7, something like that. And then now I'm just used to adding them.
Yeah.
I try not to, but sometimes you've got to, where something is better than an 8, not worth a 9 for your example. So what do you want to watch next?
How about Before I Fall, a movie where somebody relives the same day over and over again?
No.
Oh, I got it. How about Naked, a movie where somebody relives the same day over and over again?
No thanks.
I've got it. How about Happy Death Day, a movie where somebody relives the same day over and over again?
No. Get Out. Where are you going? I meant, let's watch Get Out, a better horror movie on Blu-ray, out now.
Let's do this. Thank you.
That's alright.